With the newest pseudo exalted weapon changes with techrot encore, Atlas has gotten a lot of love, and I'm gonna be adding my gaming weasel spice, making him incredibly good. Well, as you can see by the one-punch red crit nuking Atlas in the background. So if you're interested in this build, let's quickly hop into the video. Atlas is a pretty old Warframe, and I don't actually remember when I last played him. I do remember him being not that good, considering melee weapons have gotten many different changes and modifications that just made melee weapons much better than actually punching enemies, but he is definitely on the glow up. And let's quickly get into his passive and abilities. Before we get into the non-important thing, we gotta cover the fashion frame. I do have to say, he does look like a stone man, a boxer man. You can see everything that you want here. I'm using the purple from the Twilight, and the Ember collection is the orange color. So just so you know, there you go for the people that do truly focus on Warframe's endgame. His passive is going to be when you're standing on a solid ground, you have a knockdown immunity, which is really good. So a free prime sure-footed. But the moment you lift off, if an enemy, for example a heavy unit, slams the ground, you are gonna get knocked down. You also do have your little rubble meter in the bottom right hand side, but we'll sort of get back to it in just a second when we do cover the abilities, which we are getting into, or landsliding right now. His first ability, well, landslide. You dash toward an enemy, punching them and dealing impact damage, and you can make a sequence, or I guess a combo, of hitting 1, 2, and 3 enemies. With each hit after deals more damage and has a higher blast radius as well, which is going to be very good. We're going to be utilizing this to nuke entire rooms. And now landslide actually has a moddable interface, so it's an exalted weapon now, which we will cover as well. And the damage numbers are really good. What's not the best thing in the world is Tectonics, his second ability. You summon a wall in front of you, and then if you press the ability again, you can push the wall towards enemies. When the ball does explode, it does deal slash impact and puncture damage from its remaining health, but this isn't the best ability considering we're gonna be using Wrathful Advance. This is Calero's Helminth ability, and it is incredibly good. It just basically gives you insane amounts of critical chance for your melee weapon, and in turn red crits. It is going to be the best option. The sad thing is the duration is quite low, but we're going to be tweaking and fixing that in just a second. Whilst we're fixing and tweaking, we might as well petrify the enemies with our third ability. You turn the enemies in front of you in a cone to stone, making these enemies susceptible to damage, and once you destroy them, they're gonna drop rubble, which you do need for your bottom right hand side, as I mentioned the passive earlier, with a maximum of 1500 extra armor, which is incredibly good. What's gonna help you out for a little bit of extra loot is the augment mod, or gaze. This will allow you to scan the petrified enemies and also give you an additional 25% chance that they drop additional loot, which is incredibly nice. And what's really good is your rumblers, your buddies. These guys are going to be coming out. You spawn 2 of them. They deal blast and impact damage. They punch around enemies, kick them around. They're really good, and when they do die, they do drop a pile of rubble, which is really good. Now that we have covered the abilities, everything you possibly need to know, let's cover the main build, and this is it up on screen. In the aura slot, we have Steel Charge, Power Drift in the Exilus slot. We have Umbral Intensify, Blind Rage for power strength alongside Molt Augmented. For range, we do have Stretch and Overextended. We have Orgaze, as we mentioned earlier, Prime Continuity for duration, and Adaptation for that additional layer of survivability. Keeping in mind, when you're attacking enemies with your first ability, you are invulnerable to damage, so that's a free rolling guard right there. Arcane Energize is gonna be free energy because Equilibrium is pretty good. Orgaze does help, and so does your companion, but Arcane Energize is pretty much a must just because you're gonna be spamming your abilities a lot. And Molt Augmented, as I mentioned earlier, gives you power strength, which is just incredibly good. More power strength, more damage. Who doesn't love that? What will also benefit your Warframe is the Archon Shards of choice. We have 2 red ones that will give us ability duration. This will give us 25% maximum. We do have 1 red one giving us 10% power strength, 1 yellow one giving us casting speed 37.5%. It is a Tau Forged one, and also a blue Tau Forged giving us 75 energy. The blue Tau Forged can be changed out for a normal one, but I put this one in just in case. The focus school of choice is actually very much important here, considering your landslide Landslide has a combo, keeping it up is going to be incredibly good, and Naramon with Power Spike is going to help you out with that. It is going to make your meter decay instead of fully disappear when you're not attacking enemies, and this is a must-have on this Warframe, alongside modding your Fists of Doom, and this is what they look like. Finally, an exalted melee weapon, alongside the new mods. We do have Condition Overload, we have primarily Blast and Impact damage. The amount of damage that you're going to be doing is insane, so that's why I just went for Blast. Might as well blast them to outer space. Galvanized Elementalist Galvanized Steel here as well, and the Organ Shatter for critical damage. We do have Melee Retaliation, which is going to give us 30% extra melee damage per 200 shields that we have, and we're going to be regenerating our shields through our companion and also our secondary, which is also, well, our primer of choice. It is going to be the Epitaph. This is the primary build that I use for the Epitaph. It is viral, heat, and magnetic, and it also does regen your shields a little bit through Augur Seeker. And secondary encumber is going to be incredibly good because of the random elements. Now, if you don't want to use viral, heat, and magnetic, you do have this build up on screen. This is going to be corrosive, heat, and magnetic, and Augur Seeker and Augur Pack for even more energy regeneration, giving you even more melee damage on your melee retaliation. For primers, you can also use the Compressor, for example. This is the build for the Compressor. You can use the Ku Renew Core. These are some of the ones that I recommend, but I love the Epitaph. Big AoE, it covers a lot of enemies, it fires fast, and it primes incredibly fast. That's why I've chosen it. What are the other weapons? Well, we don't need any. We have our fists. What's going to help out is bringing those enemies closer, so pick yourself up a Nautilus with Cordon. Of course, we love this, we need this. We have Sin Deconstruct as well. This is going to give us loads of health and energy orbs. We do have Guardian, which is going to help us out with our shields. And we do have the Helmstrom, which is the weapon that the Nautilus is going to be using. We have Gas Magnetic, and this is just for priming as many enemies with gas and magnetic as possible. Now that we have gathered up all of the pieces that we need, let's assemble our Atlas. First of all, what do you need to do? How do you play this build? Well, activate your Wrathful Advance and then start priming those enemies with the primer of your choice, and then just smack them around with your fists. And that's basically it. Petrify the enemies, gain your maximum armor, petrify more enemies, gain additional loot, always almost petrify your enemies, keep up your Wrathful Advance, and then activate your Rumbles just to, I guess, run around and do stuff. And that's pretty much it. Since you're gonna be punching everything to outer space, you're not gonna have a lot of problems with survivability. Even if an Acolyte appears, you're gonna be one-punch him into the next node. And once you've done that, you have successfully learned how to play this Atlas build. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Atlas has definitely gotten a glow up. He is so much better now. I love using Wrathful Advance on him. It makes him so much better, considering the blast radius is so good on your first ability. You're pretty much nuking entire small rooms, and it's so nice. I did try Nourish, it is pretty okay, but this is just like 10 times better. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, do leave a comment down below on what you think of the build. I'm very much interested. Do leave a like and do subscribe and hit that bell icon. You can also become a channel member. All of those are very much appreciated because there's going to be a lot of content coming up soon, live streams, videos, everything. So this has been the Gaming Weasel, over and out.